You've got that burning desire, right, to build something amazing, something from scratch.
Mhm.
But then reality hits. You start thinking, okay, I don't have the coding skills, or I'm no designer. Maybe I don't even have a team.
Yeah, the feeling of being stuck, overwhelmed before you even start.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving straight into today, that exact feeling.
Right. So following up on our last chat about, really nailing down your idea and who your customer is,
Yeah, the validation part.
this deep dive is all about the practical stuff. The nitty-gritty of taking that first step when your startup budget is, well, basically zero.
Precisely. So today's mission is to really arm you with actionable strategies. We want to pull out the most vital info on tapping into resources you might not even know you have,
Uh-huh.
finding great free tools, looking at skill swaps, which is a really smart move, and getting our heads around no code and low code. How these can totally change the game for building that first version.
A game changer, absolutely.
Okay, so where do we even start when the skills feel like a massive roadblock?
It's such a common hurdle, isn't it? That feeling that you need to be an expert coder, marketer, designer, everything, just to launch.
Totally. But, this is where it gets interesting now, how knowledge is shared today.
Right.
The internet has basically become this huge free university, hasn't it?
It really has.
Uh-huh.
Think about something like Khan Academy.
Yeah.
They give you a solid foundation in coding logic, for instance. It's all there.
Or YouTube, countless channels just breaking down design principles, really easy to understand stuff, and Free Code Camp, whole courses on web development.
It's amazing what's available. If you're willing to put in the time to learn, the resources are there.
And what's powerful about that, I think, is how it empowers bootstrapping founders.
Exactly. You don't necessarily need a fancy degree to grasp the basics anymore, or, learn just enough to build that initial product.
That minimum viable product, the
Yeah.
MVP.
Right. The focus shifts, doesn't it? It's less about having credentials up front and more about actively learning what you need when you need it, specifically for that MVP.
It's about progress, not perfection at that stage.
It's that constant learning loop. Keep moving forward.
Okay, so skills, you can learn them. What about the actual building, the tools? That sounds expensive.
Well, the good news is you really don't need to break the bank on pricey software, especially not right at the beginning.
You might not need to spend anything at all.
In many cases, yes. This is where the open source community is just fantastic.
Ah, right. Explain that a bit.
It's basically this huge collaborative space. Developers, creators, they share their tools, their technologies completely freely. It's built on everyone contributing.
So we're talking serious tools here.
Oh, yeah. Robust development frameworks like React, Angular, Vue.js. These are the foundations for building modern websites and apps, all free.
Wow. Okay. What about design?
For design, you've got things like GIMP. It's a really powerful image editor, like a free Photoshop alternative.
Right.
And Canva. Their free plan is amazing for mock-ups, social media graphics, that kind of thing.
We use Canva a lot. It's great. And keeping track of it all. Project management.
It's also covered. You've got great free options like Trello, Asana. Even just using Google Sheets can be surprisingly effective in the early days.
So the message is, don't immediately jump to the paid versions.
Definitely not. Start free. The free tiers often give you more than enough power to get started and, crucially, to validate your core idea. See if it works before you spend.
Okay, that makes sense. Now let's talk about something else. Skill swaps and bartering. This sounds clever.
It's a really smart, often overlooked strategy. It's all about leveraging what you already have, your skills, your resources.
How does it work?
Well, look at your own strengths first. Maybe you're great at writing, compelling emails or blog posts.
Okay.
But you need a basic website built, and coding isn't your thing. The idea is to find someone who is good at web design, but maybe they struggle with writing their marketing copy.
Ah, I see. So you trade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You trade skills directly. You're writing for their design work. No cash changes hands.
It's like a little mini economy for startups. Where do you find these people?
Online communities are great. Places focused on entrepreneurship, specific skills. LinkedIn, maybe?
Yeah.
Local meetups, too, when that's feasible again. And don't forget your existing network. Friends, former colleagues. You'd be surprised who has skills you need and might be willing to trade.
So the question for you, the listener, is what unique skills do you have? What could be valuable to someone else?
Right. And what specific help do you need that someone you know might offer?
And it's not just about core skills like coding or design, is it?
No, absolutely not.
Think broader. Could you offer, say, some admin help in exchange for basic legal advice? Or maybe write some content for someone if they can give you some marketing tips.
Get creative with what you can offer.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
building a startup, it's usually a marathon, right? Not a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
Building that supportive network, that collaborative spirit through these kinds of exchanges, it pays off hugely in the long run.
Because we're learning new skills, we've got free tools, we're thinking about trading skills. Now let's get into something really exciting. No-code and low-code platforms. Ah, yes. These are genuinely transformative, especially for bootstrapped founders.
What are they, essentially, for someone who hasn't heard the terms?
So no-code and low-code platforms, they give you a way to build things, prototypes, even basic working products, without writing traditional computer code.
How?
They use visual interfaces, drag and drop elements, pre-built components. It dramatically speeds things up and lowers the technical bar significantly.
Like digital Legos for building apps or websites?
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking platforms like Webflow, fantastic for really professional-looking websites, no code needed.
Okay.
Then there's Bubble, that lets you build more complex web applications using visual workflows.
Right.
Glide is super cool. It can turn info in a spreadsheet into a mobile app.
Wow.
And Zapier is all about connecting different tools you use and automating tasks between them, like automatically posting your new blog article to Twitter.
And the key thing for this discussion, are they free?
Well, many of them offer very generous free tiers or really affordable starting plans.
So you can actually build and test something with zero or very little cash up front.
Precisely. It lowers that initial barrier massively.
Now, I can imagine someone listening thinking, okay, but is a no-code MVP, good enough? Is the quality there? It's a fair question.
It's a very valid question. And the crucial thing to remember here is the purpose of that first MVP.
It's not about perfection.
Not at all. The main goal isn't to launch this flawless, feature-packed product from day one. It's about testing your core assumptions.
Finding out if the basic idea works.
Exactly. Getting essential feedback from real early users, and then iterating, changing, improving based on what you learn.
So it just needs to work well enough for that learning process.
Yes. Functional enough to see what resonates, what doesn't quite hit the mark, what needs tweaking. Aiming for perfection right away is actually counterproductive. Learning and adapting is the name of the game.
And no code helps you do that faster.
Massively faster. And cheaper. That's the huge advantage. You get a working version out to users incredibly quickly, often with zero development cost.
Which means faster learning cycles.
Faster learning, much less risk. You're not sinking tons of money into something before you even know if people want it.
Okay, let's make this concrete. Give us an example.
Okay, remember that idea we mentioned? A platform connecting local farmers directly with consumers.
Yeah, farm to table directly.
Traditionally, building that as a custom web app. User accounts, product listings, payments. That's a big job. Lots of time, lots of money.
Right. Months, maybe years, and significant cost.
But using a no-code approach, you could maybe use Glide, hook it up to a simple Google Sheet,
Okay.
and create a basic directory. Farmers list their produce, their contact info.
Yeah.
That's it. Super simple.
But it tests the core idea.
It directly tests the core value proposition. Do people want to find and buy directly from local farmers in this way? Is this connection valuable?
And you can build that simple version how quickly?
Potentially in days or even hours, depending on the complexity, compared to months for the custom build.
That's incredible. And it lets you gauge interest, get feedback, prove the demand.
Before you commit serious resources to building out all the bells and whistles.
So ultimately, this whole $0 budget thing, it forces you to be resourceful.
It really does. It shifts your perspective. You have to focus on the assets you do have, your idea, your skills, all these free tools we've talked about.
Rather than dwelling on what you lack.
Exactly. Don't get bogged down by the limitations.
It's about reframing those constraints, maybe, seeing them as fuel for creativity.
That's a perfect way to put it. Constraints breed innovation.
Okay, so let's quickly recap the key takeaways from this deep dive.
Right. First, remember the power of free education online. It's immense.
Use it. Second, embrace all those open source and free software tools. They're incredibly capable.
Third, definitely explore skill swaps and bartering. Leverage your network and your own abilities creatively.
And fourth, seriously look at no code and low code for your MVP. It's a strategic advantage for speed and validation.
Absolutely. So, looking ahead, our next deep dive, we'll tackle another big one for bootstrappers. Marketing on a shoestring.
Ooh, important. How to get the word out with little to no budget.
Yeah, we'll get into organic strategies, content creation, using social media effectively, all without breaking the bank.
Fantastic. And maybe a final thought for everyone listening today.
Go on.
Really think about this. How can the limitations you're facing right now, that $0 budget, maybe the skills you think you're missing, how can those actually become your unique strengths, your catalysts for doing things differently, more creatively on your startup journey?
That's a great question to ponder. How can constraint become your advantage?
We'll leave you with that. Catch you next time for another deep dive.